Phil Wirdzek, and I'm the Executive Director and founder of the International Institute for Sustainable Laboratories. I'm also the founder of the Labs 21 program. It was a U.S. program. Well, the objective of my talk was pretty much when a facility is delivered, designed and built and then delivered, it comes to the owner, the user, with little information typically. And as we attempt to achieve specific goals that may be assigned to that facility in its design and construction, can we maintain that performance, achieve those goals throughout the life cycle of that facility? So the trick is, in a way, to be able to record information that can be passed on to the users, can be passed on to the operators and to the management of that facility. As a user's manual, much like you might get a user's manual if you own an automobile, it gives them the parameters and the framework in which to achieve on a daily basis, year in and year out, the performance that was expected of that building. So one of the difficulties that we face with laboratories and other high-tech buildings, such as data centers and clean rooms and hospitals, is the ever-creeping increase, if you will, in technologies, advancement in technologies and procedures, which will continue to challenge a building built today. In 5 years, maybe challenged internally by the new procedures. So there needs to be some guide, some framework on which to say, this building was built for this purpose, has these capabilities. And then we need to be able to transfer information to the appropriate user, to the operator, to the facility manager, to the budget people, in a form that means something to them. The object then is that they have a list or an understanding of what are the services that I can expect. If I'm a principal investigator and I have 40 square meters of lab space, what is this capability? What is the energy capability? What is water assignment? What services can I expect? When do I know that I'm exceeding those services? And this has to be transparent. It has to be transparent to the facility operations. It has to be transparent to the management. And it has to be transparent in some way to budgeting and acquisition, so that everyone is understanding where each player is, how they are impacting that facility, and how they can manage. Are they within their constraints or are they outside of their constraints? And then they may get into negotiating with others. Okay, I'm going to be going this direction, you're going that direction. So generally we're maintaining the performance of the building. I'm exceeding mine somewhat, and someone else may be trading off. So what I was hoping to get across was the idea of providing, if you will, a dashboard, much like you get in an automobile. It says you have a fuel gauge, you have a temperature gauge, these sorts of things that are appropriate for each of the people that will occupy the building, so they can understand where they are in the daily performance of that facility. I think everybody's coming to recognize that there's a challenge with these buildings, with the laboratory and these high-tech buildings. The challenge is that increasing complexity. There are other issues that get involved, such as security, 24-hour operation, data management, all kinds of things that make these buildings much more complicated, much more complex, and fall under, a variety of unique regulatory and code issues. So they need more information. The people need more information, and we're not giving them that information. In the U.S., there's oftentimes, and I suspect that's here in the UK and throughout Europe, you deliver a high-tech building, and sometimes the operators don't even want to take it on. It's like, I don't know how to run this building. You are not giving me any information. I've never been around. There's some people that are involved in the design and in the construction process that are going to end up operating the building, but that doesn't happen all the time. What we see in the UK, for example, is an interest in something called building information modeling, and I understand that there's a requirement here in the UK that buildings of a certain size will be required to use building information modeling by, I don't know, it was 2014 or 15. We see a lot of building information modeling coming into the U.S. as well. The trouble is it only gets you from design to build. It doesn't get you from design to build to occupy. And what we're trying to do in the U.S. is through a committee, we work with the National Institute of Building Sciences and with the International Facility Managers Association and our organization, have partnered to try to encourage the transition, the migration, if you will, of BIM into a facility management tool that would be a platform in which not only the building archive information, the design information, construction information is available, but such things as energy management or indoor air quality or chemical management or preventative maintenance or whatever these could be are maintained in one area, and that there's a recognition that this becomes the user's manual, if you will, and it has to be maintained over time. And people have to be plugged into that no matter what their role is in that facility, so that everyone is, singing from the same manual, singing from the same hymnal. And oftentimes, probably more often than not, I suspect probably never, we have people singing different tunes in different parts of the building, and it's not very well organized and orchestrated, and that's what we need to get to. There was Guy Collier had spoken earlier today, and had indicated that there was this whole issue of security. Again, is one of those areas that there needs to be a better and thorough understanding of what the implications of that might be, whether it's at the government level, at academic level, university level, or maybe even in the private sector. What security issues are there? How do you address them, and how do you do that in such a way that you don't create a security hazard, but you actually can thwart such an effort if one were to exist? And I think that's something that we've looked at. We have not progressed very far with S-Labs. That may be something that we can work on together. And again, it kind of gets me back to the thought that I had raised in my presentation today, was we deliver these buildings with very little information. I can go to a grocery store and I can purchase the analogy I used was a jar of peanut butter. And on the side of that jar of peanut butter, if I happen to have an allergy, or if I happen to have some issue that I need to know, well, am I getting the carbohydrates, the proteins? And I have some way of knowing what that product is going to provide to me as a user of it. I go into a building, whether it's a lab or an office or a residential community, a home or whatever. I don't have that information. And I think we need more of that, especially the more complicated these buildings get. We need to have something that gives us the boundaries, it gives us the limits, it gives us an idea of what we can expect from that facility.